On this edition of Game Up, we go behind the scenes with Tony Hawk on the set of the Guitar Hero World Tour commercial.
I keep the wah-wah up instead of out here. I keep it right here so that I can still go right back to strumming. I'm giving away all my secrets.
We also check in with Shaun and the release of his new snowboarding game. Aaron shares some home videos of his trip to Japan where he got a first look at the new Tecmo Bowl.
He's going to show you something that I don't think anyone's really seen.
And some real pros take on some real G.I. Joes in the new Call of Duty World at War.
Swift. On Sugar Ray.
All that and more right now on Game Up.
Welcome to another edition of Game Up. We're here at the headquarters of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at One Buck Place, or One Buck Palace, as they say. This is the largest facility in the NFL, and in a few minutes, we're going to take you inside for the Pro versus G.I. Joe event. Buccaneer players are going to be playing against our troops stationed around the globe in a game of Call of Duty 5. But first, let's head out west to the campus of UCLA for the unveiling of NCAA Basketball 09. Game Up checking in with you with Timberwolves rookie Kevin Love, but you're also the cover athlete for NCAA Basketball 09. They changed the name this year. How's it feel to be on the cover? Gotta love that.
It's a surreal experience, I'll tell you. I've been mentioning all day that I had a 20th birthday party, 20th birthday on Sunday, September 7th, and if this is my late present, this is the best present I've ever had.
I'm really excited for Kevin. It's a great cover, as you can see. It's a beautiful picture. And it's going to be when every little kid's home who's growing up wanting to be a player.
The focus this year for us, gameplay. It's all about gameplay, really focusing on game tempo, different styles of play, seeing Wisconsin playing, Washington State play, seeing Memphis and Tennessee. Obviously very different styles of play. And I think for the first time in a basketball game, really nailing that.
You can be up-tempo with a team like Tennessee or Memphis, or you can grind it out like we did at UCLA. So, and then you have, Coach Shaun, who, kind of sucks that he's in the video game because, I got to listen to him again.
I'm coaching. Yeah, we're coaching our teams. The different coaches that are going to be in the game will be coaching, talking to you, and trying to help you execute.
So every team's given an ideal tempo. So whether it's half court, balance, or up tempo, your coach is feeding back to you along the way what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, what you may want to try and do. So really giving some accessible feedback. The key to college basketball is setting tempo and controlling it. So once you actually do that, you'll find that your players will start playing the way they should play. They'll be in positions to be successful, so you get your guys running sets or pressing defense to get easy baskets. Again, based on the athletes that are on the floor, based on the coaching philosophy that each team has.
It's the newest game, it's the hottest game out, and EA Sports is, that's where you want to be. It's in the game.
EA pretty much has the world of mainstream sports covered. But up in Park City, Utah, it's a different story. That's Shaun White's home mountain, and his snowboarding game breaks new ground with backcountry snowboarding. We had a chance to talk to the designers that made Shaun's vision a reality.
It's something that we've worked with Shaun from the beginning. It was, what should the game be? And, what we expected was, half-pipe, slope-style competition, but it's not what we got from Shaun. Shaun was, no, it's about the open mountain.
I love the backcountry riding because no other game has really captured that. They all can go in the park and you hit a rail and do this or that, but this is like, you're going down, there's powders, avalanches, you fall in crevasses, all these things keep happening, so it keeps you guessing.
How do you like how your mountain, your home mountain, was treated in the game?
It's awesome. It's really fun because they have a whole mine shaft up there. And so in the game, we built out these little holes that you drop into and you cruise through these mines.
Park City was very different from any other resort, being that it's riddled with a lot of old mine buildings and mine shaft and everything. So it was really good for the level designers and the game designers because it opened up a lot more elements creativity-wise.
In the past, we both know that snowboarding games have been kind of like tunnels, or grooves at least, where you go that way, you go that way. What are some of the challenges of creating this wide open mountain with all this stuff on it?
Technical challenges mostly.
That's what I want to hear about.
A lot of them. Basically, we needed technology that actually drove the actual ability to see 20 miles out. That was the first challenge, and of course we were lucky enough to have the Assassin's Creed engine that does that.
I didn't even know this about games until I started doing my own game, but toward the end of the release date is when most of the stuff gets done, because the programmers, I don't know, they really realize the game's gonna come out, and they're like, okay, you know, they double time it and get the work done. But I'm impressed. I don't know, they're just capturing a lot of stuff that when I watch, I'm like, wow, that's really like, okay, that's what it feels like to do that, or that's what it really looks like from the air. It's like you go from an idea to something that you can actually, it's tangible, you know what I mean? You're sitting there watching other people play it, and they're laughing and enjoying themselves and talking, you know, trash on each other, and it's everything I wanted it to be.
Still to come on Game Up, you won't want to miss Tony Hawk as he unveils some of his Guitar Hero secrets.
Sometimes you'll be rocking and all of a sudden you get off one key and just die.
And the pros take on the real G.I. Joes in Call of Duty World at War.
Got me in the neck. I'm swift. Like Sugar Ray.
Hi, I'm Josh Hamilton, and you're watching Game Up.
Here on Game Up, we love to hear from you. So email us at gameup@espn.com or text message us at 4ESPN. That's 43776. We'll pick one message at random, and we'll send you some souvenirs from my trip to Japan. That's where I had a chance to check out the resurrection of Tecmo Bowl. Game Up keeping it so international. This time we're in Japan trying to get the story on the return of Tecmo Bowl.
We're probably gonna kick it right here.
Let's go.
The meetings. Check out.
For people who are big fans of Tecmo Bowl, what are they going to recognize with this new game from back in the day? What things are going to be familiar?
じゃあ昔からやっぱりテクモボールのファンであった人はこのキックオフをプレイして、どういう点を思い出すっていうか、どういう懐かしい点が出てくるっていう。
そうですね。やっぱり昔と同じ画面の構図になっているっていうところが。
I guess the biggest factor that the fans are going to recognize is probably the actual the layout of the visual. He's going to show you something that I don't think anyone's really seen. This is kind of like alpha, maybe pre-alpha rendering of this game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
ですね。SNES ですね。SNES のエミュレーター、エミュレート。
The top is you probably recognize as a Super NES controls menu layout from the original. So this is kind of he's going to try to show you the uncanny similarities or the reason why it's so uncannily similar.
Okay.
So you can see that this is basically just an emulator running Super NES version.
これがここがね、ここですからね。権利上見せられないけども、このSNES のものとこっちが新しいもので同じ画面になっていると思います。
So this is a version that has both versions running at the same time. So you kind of see the similarities, but you can also identify the differences. This is what we're working with right now. This is Kickoff, and this is the original SNES version. This is kind of like a development tool that they're using.
こういうこうですか、スクリメージラインとかこういう文字がこっちをベースに動いていると。
So you can see that there are certain icons and certain scrimmage line differences that's not here. Obviously we took that out, but this is kind of a reference base to what is now Tecmo Bowl Kickoff.
Take your place in the Hall of Fame.
When you're dealing with a cultural phenomenon like Guitar Hero, you can't just bring in any old so-and-so to direct the commercial. Brett Ratner has directed films like Red Dragon, X-Men The Last Stand, and the entire Rush Hour trilogy. With big-time directors come big-name athletes. Let's go behind the scenes of the Guitar Hero World Tour commercial shoot as Tony Hawk and company get into some risky business.
I'm a film director, but friends of mine have said to me, like Bobby Kotick from the CEO of Activision has said, you know, hey Brett, you know, I want you to be a part of the branding of Guitar Hero. And I said, we have to do something that is iconic, that's going to parallel kind of how iconic Guitar Hero is in pop culture. And one of the pop culture iconic images is a scene from Risky Business.
I was honored to be part of this campaign because the lineup is extraordinary. You know, the athletes especially. When I heard who was doing it and that I was invited, I felt like some lottery winner.
It's a great opportunity to get 4 people from 4 different walks of life in one room together, jamming out, having fun to Guitar Hero. It's a game that translates universally. It doesn't matter how old you are, you will love playing Guitar Hero. It doesn't matter where you're from, what country you're from, whether you're an athlete, it doesn't matter.
I think my favorite part is guitar. My technique is basically keeping these 4 fingers here, you know, and then when you see a shift in the scale, maybe bringing them down here, but you always got to make sure you know where that ridge is on the yellow button, because there's a little bump there, and that's when you know you're in the middle, because sometimes you'll be rocking and all of a sudden you get off one key and just die instantly. I keep the wah-wah up, and instead of right here, I keep it right here so that I can still go right back to strumming. I'm giving away all my secrets.
Look at that, he's striking the pose with his air guitar. John Lynch, he's crazy. Now with Guitar Hero now offering the full rock and roll experience with drums and vocals, how does it compare to the latest installation of Rock Band? That's right, it's time for Tale of the Tape. We're right back where we started in this month's Tale of the Tape as we match up Rock Band 2 with the Guitar Hero World Tour. The 2007 edition of these 2 franchises kicked off our very first Tale of the Tape back in January. This time around, the competition is even tighter as these 2 music games become even more similar. Both games have you playing music using guitar controllers, drums, and a microphone, so it's the extra stuff that's going to set them apart. Guitar Hero lets you lay down tracks and upload them for the world to use. It takes talent, but definitely a cool feature. Also, when you want to just jam a few songs with your friends, you can pick a handful of tracks for an instant set list. This is better than Rock Band's quick play system where you have to pick something new after each song. Rock Band 2 lets you import all of the songs from the first Rock Band game, so you don't have to switch games to play your favorites. With its unlockables and progression, the career mode in Rock Band 2 makes it much more of a video game. Compare this to Guitar Hero, which is more of a music simulator this time around. In the end, each game has features that take them in different directions. World Tour is pretty ambitious, while Rock Band 2 improves on what it started. We'll call this a push. Guitar Hero World Tour has the better song selection because of 2 words: Jimi Hendrix. These guitar games are made for us to pretend like we're Jimmy anyway, so being able to play Little Wing and Fire in World Tour is just so satisfying. It really is a matter of taste. Since I didn't grow up listening to a lot of rock music, I often find myself overwhelmed at the number of tracks in Rock Band that I just don't recognize. Fans of rock music probably appreciate the depth and breadth of songs available in Rock Band 2. But for the sake of this comparison, I'll take the Eagles, Lenny Kravitz, and Billy Idol in World Tour and call it a day. When it comes to hardware, World Tour makes the big leap this year by adding a drum kit and microphone. This is part of the reason why you can't import old Guitar Hero songs into the new game. The drum kit is bigger and better, with 2 cymbals, 3 pads, and a foot pedal. The new guitars have touch-sensitive slider bars that can offer a new challenge during solos and regular gameplay. Rock Band 2 went all wireless this time around, so you don't have cords spread all over your gaming area. The hardware in Rock Band is just more solid, even with the simpler drum kit. World Tour slider control is tough to use and just isn't as rewarding as it should be. Even though the drum kit is coded to reduce noise, there have been major issues with its sensitivity on the pads themselves. Rock Band 2 has the better gear because it's more solid. But here's the catch. You can use Rock Band's instruments in Guitar Hero and vice versa. So in the end, there's very little to separate these two games from each other. I like World Tour's songs and drum kit better, while Rock Band 2's feature set and guitar controllers are equally appealing. And we didn't even get into the drum simulator or boss battles. If I'm forced to pick one, I'll take Rock Band 2 by a whisker. For even more on the Guitar Hero versus Rock Band debate, go to the ESPN.com video game section. And let your voice be heard. We will listen. Email us at gameup@espn.com or text the phrase GameUp to 43776.
Still to come on Game Up.
And how did your game against Philip Buchanan, how did that go?
It was embarrassing for Philip, if I may say. Yeah, but he doesn't play much, and I can't take it and put it against him.
And he beat me fair and square. But if he give me at least 20 hours on the video game, let me practice and prepare, and let me get my game plan, he won't whoop me.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's the champ, a.k.a. the People's Champ, Kevin Garnett, and you watching Game Up.
Hey there, I'm Molly Karam with your Business Minute. With the holiday season looming and the U.S. experiencing some of the toughest economic times in decades, it seems that the video game industry is a relatively safe place to be. Industry executives are saying that game sales are expected to be strong this year and in 2009. Reggie Fils-Aime, president of Nintendo of America, said its Wii console continues to sell out, while sales of the pocket-sized DS game machine have risen almost 20% year over year. Quote, if I look at this from an industry perspective, I think cautiously optimistic is quite appropriate. If I look at this from a Nintendo perspective, I would say very optimistic, end quote. As holiday shopping begins, Harmonix announced that they are lowering the price of Rock Band's Special Edition bundle. The PS2 and Wii version of the bundle will now be available for $99.99. The PS3 and Xbox 360 version of the Rock Band Special Edition bundle is available for $139.99. And Rock Band 2 landed at number 14 in GameSpot's recently released list of the most popular holiday games. Topping the list were Call of Duty World at War, Dead Space, Fable 2, and Fallout 3. That's it for your Business Minute. I'm Molly Karam.
By this time of year, all the good sports games are out already. We've been playing them for weeks. But there are still several blockbusters out there worth checking out this holiday season. Here's a look at just a few of them in this edition of Easy Points. An open-world sandbox game like Saints Row 2 is really just a crime simulator when you get down to it. I've got no problem with that, especially when you're talking about a game that's as fun as this one. It takes a lot of what the Grand Theft Auto franchise stood for and emphasized the very best parts. In fact, GTA 4 took itself so seriously that it has allowed this edition of Saints Row to become the standard bearer for crime simulators. Controlling territories, customizing cars, and riding around with a car full of heavily armed thugs are three simple things that put Saints Row 2 at the head of the class. The level of tongue-in-cheek and snarky humor is through the roof in this game.
You okay, Johnny? Yeah, aside from almost getting sent to the chair, I'm great.
Being able to take my gang of ninjas to my rooftop helipad, fly to the airport where my private jet is stored so I can practice parachuting into a gunfight is so enjoyable. I don't know how we made it this far without stuff like that in video games.
We're dealing with violent criminals. Are you really surprised they might do something, I don't know, violent?
Then the traveler in the dark thanks you for your little sport. He could not see which way to go if you did not.
Survival horror games must have creepy ambience, startling moments, and fearsome enemies if they're going to stand a chance in today's video game world. These games tend to be slower paced and don't require a lot of quick reactions on the sticks. Dead Space takes the genre in a sci-fi direction and has you battling nasty critters on a derelict spaceship. It's a lot like the cult movie Event Horizon, where a spaceship travels through hell on its way to hyperspace and back. Fortunately, I loved Event Horizon, so Dead Space definitely grabs my attention. You have to conserve ammunition in this one, so dismembering the zombie aliens that attack you is the key to slowing them down and then stopping them once and for all. It's not the first time we've seen this in a video game, but it is the first time we've seen it used this well in a survival horror game that's been put together brilliantly.
God moves in mysterious ways.
Every story starts innocently enough. Yours is no different.
Fable 2 can be a difficult game to evaluate because it can evolve in so many different ways, depending on who's playing and what kind of experience you want out of it. But I do know that this is what makes it such an appealing role-playing game. We know that you start off as a child with some sort of special powers, and that by the time you're an adult living in a gypsy camp, you're off to solve the mystery of what happened to your sister. Along the way, there are all kinds of jobs to do, puzzles to solve, villagers to impress, and adventures to get into. The outstanding voice acting and variety of activities in Fable 2 will keep you engaged in this game way past your bedtime. That's a compliment too. I tend to shy away from games about wizards, elves, and warriors, but this one takes a different approach and makes all that stuff appealing somehow.
Who will you become?
Pro vs. G.I. Joe is a unique initiative that brings together professional athletes, troops stationed overseas, and the families of those troops together on one day, very special occasion with Veterans Day, but they all come together over video games. The professional athletes, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this case, they're playing against the soldiers stationed overseas. The families who are here, they get to talk to their sons and daughters over webcams. It all happens in one day, right here. Let's check it out.
All right, here we go. Call of Duty World at War with Germany and Dubai.
I'm swift, like Sugar Ray. Got me in the neck. Look at that, man. We know it's Veterans Day. It's time to go out and pay tribute to the guys and women that are protecting the country and that are keeping us safe here at home. And, you know, like I said, we're at war right now, so it's a great time for them to get off and get their mind off real life situations and kind of, you know, play a video game and you know, have a little challenge versus, you know, what they really do, you know, what we, you know, think we can do. And I can go home and brag, you know, talk to my homeboys and tell them that, hey, you know, Call of Duty, I played it against some real soldiers, so all the guys that think they're really good, and, you know, I tell them I play against some real soldiers.
Well, we know how big community involvement is, so if we're working with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, then we really try to get either Florida-based troops or Tampa Bay troops. That's not always possible, but we work really closely with the USO. We formed a partnership with the USO. That's where the G.I. Joes play all around the world. We ask them, based on their situational awareness in that country, to try to identify local troops so that we can really get the community involved, not just the families, but also the fans of the G.I. Joes, not just the fans of the pros. You know, we feel like the G.I. Joes are the real heroes here, and we're here to honor them, and we want to give the community an opportunity to do that.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, where else could something like this ever have happened? You know, I mean, to see somebody on the other side of the world play these games, I mean, these guys eat this up. This is like an experience for them.
Who you here to see today over the web?
My son, Corporal Josh Valentine, U.S. Marine Corps.
What did you get a chance to say to your son when you talked to him?
Well, I told him that I love him and I'm proud of him, and it was great. Apparently he was #1 on the other game that he played.
Very good. So he's making you proud no matter what.
Exactly.
Which game have you enjoyed the most today? Which one was your favorite?
Call of Duty.
Yeah? What was your favorite part about it? What do you like?
I like it about the different guns. Football.
Yeah, you like the football better?
Because I like the tackling and all that.
Back to pass. Goes for replay. James gets a good interception.
You actually played against Philip Buchanan just now. What was that like?
Oh, it was very exciting. Philip's one of my favorite players. Followed him since Miami to Oakland, out of Tampa, so
okay,
it's pretty cool.
So you're a Bucks fan then?
No, definitely not a Bucks fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I'm definitely an NFL fan as well.
Okay, and how did your game against Philip Buchanan, how did that go?
It was embarrassing for Philip, if I may say. Yeah, but he doesn't play much, and I can't take it and put it against him. But
that's the oldest excuse in the book. Don't ever buy that one. I don't play much. That's not true.
I will give it to him because he's a good player, and he beat me fair and square. But if he give me at least 20 hours on the video game, let me practice and prepare, and let me get my game plan, he won't whoop me.
20 hours, huh?
All I need, matter of fact, you know what? All I need is 5 hours.
So now it's down to 5? Okay.
5 hours. All I need is just to mess around with the joystick, get my plays together, and it doesn't really matter what he's doing because I know what I got to do. That's the only thing that matters.
That was the Pro versus G.I. Joe event, something special on Veterans Day. And that wraps us up from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers headquarters. We want to know what you think of the show, so email us, gameup@ESPN.com, or text message us, 43776, and be sure to check the ESPN.com video game section for all your video game news and information. We'll see you next time.